I never grew up with educators that look like myself. So I
100.
feel like honestly, like we are that new wave that make being wise, being smart, being educated cool, right?
Absolutely.
Wisdom is a powerful tool, but oftentimes we might neglect it because of who it's coming from. You feel me? But if we can chop it up with a young buck and really implant a seed, man, like that's it's more than just education at that point. You know what I'm saying?
What's going on, beautiful people? This is the Let's Grow Together podcast where diverse individuals and communities come to serve, connect, and grow in areas that they're most passionate about. Brother Marcus, we back again. Check in with the beautiful people.
What's going on, family? I hope y'all prepping to enjoy Turkey Day and all that good stuff that come with it, man. But I'm feeling phenomenal, man. As I mentioned, man, prepping for the Turkey week. I couldn't be much more lit, man. Always a beautiful time to celebrate, collaborate with family. But on a personal note, man, very, very vibrant, man. Very, very vibrant. Coming off an event for the mentor group with Roots Mentoring, we were able to have a relationship building forum, man. And again, the mentoring group is geared towards youth, but literally, man, probably about 80% parents and people who are a little bit more tenured. And man, when I tell you the conversation was so good, we literally had to tell people like, pause, like, be quiet. Like, we got to move on to the next segment. And anytime people are overly engaged like that, you know you're doing something impactful. So, man, blessings, man. No complaints by any means. A beautiful day and ready to get it in and educate some of these folks. How you feeling, though, James?
Man, I just wanted to, man, give you your flowers on that because, I always live vicarious through your social media as far as seeing the events. So it looked as if it was a super dope experience. Did you guys also have something with mental health, or is that coming up?
Yeah, so we had a mental health forum a while back, but that's something we definitely hit a couple of times because, as you know, that's an ongoing consistent. But to your point, yo, y'all don't already follow, man. Mastermind underscore Marcus on IG. Definitely tap in, man. You'll be able to comment on some of the things James is talking about now.
Love the shameless plug. Love the shameless plug. Man, bro, I am blessed. I am extremely blessed. As you know, we've been doing some work with one of our remote schools. It's been phenomenal, bro. Just for being with them for like a month, we've seen growth where we're on Zoom and they're really willing to hop on the different. Well, initially they were too shy to even turn on that camera. A lot of them are turning on that camera. The energy is always crazy in the room because they're participating, but they were too shy to show because they deal with some social issues as well as some health issues. So a lot of them didn't want to be seen on camera. But now we've gotten to a space where they're like, man, Mr. Turner, Mr. Chuck, like, man, they excited to see us. So then 2 weeks ago, we had another event with BMLA, which is the Black Male Leadership Academy that East has at Roosevelt University. And it was super dope, man. We had a circle, really just on some restorative justice stuff. And bro, the conversation was so dope. Like you had, high school students, college students, you had, the AGGF guys, but then you also had some men that were in their 50s that so you had a lot of perspective there, and the conversations that we were having, it really had me pumped up. Like, I'm really supposed to be doing this work, bro, because the young guys was like, man, I really need to have this conversation. The older guys were like, I never really been in a space where I felt comfortable to share this type of information or share this type of story or share my story. And I'm just like, a lot of people don't have safe spaces like that. You know what I'm saying? So that was super dope. As you know, I went to, a Bulls game. We ended up losing to Zion. We were in a suite for one of my girlfriend's coworkers' birthday. And
Okay.
the experience was super dope, bro. It was super dope. But we had like 40 seats where we were up, literally up in the air, bro. I'm right behind Michael Jordan's banner. And I had on the MJ jersey too. So of course I'm telling my girl, take the picture in front of what I'm saying, in front of the banner. What I'm saying? This for the culture. Like, so that was dope, man. So I was riding a high that day, man. Got to network with some dope people. We were talking real estate, we were talking different businesses, trying to get some some other kind of collaboration set up, man. But literally that night, something extremely crazy happened that really tested my character. We'll talk about it a little bit later in the podcast, but man, if you guys want to see any of the content that we're talking about, anything that we have going on with the organization, Follow me on IG, jturner0121. But man, let's go ahead and get into the conversation, Marcus.
I got to comment on it, man. Well, first of
Oh, of
all,
course,
I know
of
what it's
course.
like to be the only one on camera, right? You know, you're leading, you're facilitating, but the engagement is just you can't really gauge. So, man, for
Bro,
y'all to be able to turn those kids around, for them to be comfortable to turn the camera on, man, that's a huge step, bro. Kudos, man.
bro,
And then,
real quick on that. Like, it's so funny because, like, of course, like we don't mind talking, right? But it's a leadership program. So the idea is that there should be some type of dialogue between us and the students. And a lot of times, we'll just be talking, and they have advocates in the room as well, or in the meetings as well. So we're really more likely to not talking to the advocate about life situations and things of that nature. So it's just super interesting, like you said, like the kids, they're not on camera, so sometimes, like, are they paying attention? Like, what are you like, are you really listening? But more often than not, they are, and they add tremendous value to the conversations. It's just that we can't see them, and body language speaks louder than what you're actually saying out your mouth. So it's been, bro, it's been a phenomenal improvement, and we've been working with them for only about 3-4 weeks.
hey, huge progress, man. Kudos, kudos. And then you mentioned another thing with having the young bucks and kind of the old heads, right? I actually had an idea for an event, man, which goes hand in hand with that, called old heads versus young bucks, where we talk about things that are either contradictive or something that is a little bit combative to the other side. So for you all to be able to create a safe space for people to be able to talk about that, that's huge, bro. That's bridging the gap. That was one thing that we really worked towards when we had our relationship building, right? Man, we had some old heads talking about people who crossed them and they dated them tight and tight. Then we had young bucks talking about, well, I gave him the lunch last week and he didn't bring me mine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So it was
yeah.
awesome to see everybody chime in, have their perspective, but it to be relatable across the board, man. So again, that's huge, bro. Keep it up, man. Kudos, my guy.
Bro, I think that's super dope, man. Because when you were just talking about the old heads versus the young bucks, like the first thing literally that came to my mind was bridging the gap. Because oftentimes, we get seasoned, for lack of a better term, where we get into a certain lifestyle that we don't feel as if it's our job or our duty to reach back and help a young brother. Like, it's, to me, it's asinine to believe that or think that way. And then, like, for the young bucks, like, a lot of times they don't feel as if the older guys understand them, as if they didn't go through life already. You know what I'm saying? And I was one of those kids that thought that, like, you don't understand. Like, high school is different. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not experiencing high school right now. You know what I'm saying? You went to high school back in the day. This is different. And so, obviously it's two different dynamics as far as when they went and when I went. But I'm 27. So I'm about 10 years older than a lot of these high school students. But then to also have people that were like 57, it's literally bridging the gap because, bro, one of the conversations, and I'm not gonna get too deep into this, but it was about what's your definition of love, bro. Understanding that I had some high school perspectives, which is very young, immature, puffy love. You know what I'm saying? Then you had us in the middle that was like, okay, we starting to really understand what love is. And then you had the older men, bro, and some of them had said that they never heard "I love you" in their household. So I was like, dang, like, that blew my mind. And I'm just like, bro, like, that's more common than not, especially amongst young men. So man, bro, it was super dope, but bridging the gap is tremendously important. Tremendously important.
Man, I think that really takes us and segues us right into the podcast, man. So, James, tell people what we talking about today, man.
Man, we got some dope topics, man. We really want to talk about rap music, or not even just rap music, just music in general, and the influence, and how people use our culture to profit, but don't really understand our message behind a lot of the music that we have. And then we also want to talk a little bit about Black folks and the stigma surrounding voting. And then last but not least, the victim mentality. So go ahead, Marcus, open us up.
Definitely, definitely. So, I mean, the first topic is something I hold very near and dear to myself. It's just the hypnotic rhythm that comes with music in general, right? So, a while back, right, when I really started working in the corporate realm, I was very intentional about the music I listened to, man. I remember walking into NBA YoungBoy and Kodak, and literally, man, I'm ready to spaz on the next person who email me wrong, bro. Or the next person I feel or detect a little bit of attitude in. But when I pivoted and I altered, man, I put on the Isley Brothers, right? Some of those old good vibes. My energy was so much different. But even now, talking with some of the kids that James and I talked to, man, we realized that a lot of people aren't able to deviate and differentiate the music from the reality, right? So my question for you is, James, how do you see rap music impacting a lot of kids that you tap in with and work with as well?
Bro, that's a super dope question. Appreciate you asking. But man, especially rap music, it pretty much just perpetuates crime, drugs, the fast life, the struggle, and this kind of like rag to rich mentality that is attainable, but it's not sustainable. And I think that a lot of times that, like you mentioned, NBA YoungBoy, nothing like, I don't know the brother, but he makes some dope music, but it's for a certain type of people. Like I'm similar to you where I worked in corporate America, and I'm pulling up listening to, it was more like Lil Herb or Lil Durk or things like that, and I'm listening to that.
Shout
But
out to Chicago.
you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Chicago for sure, man. And so, I'm listening to that, or I'm listening to some Wayne, because like, people don't understand or realize that Wayne pretty much influenced a whole generation of rappers, where it was the dreads, whether it was the tattoos, it was the drugs being used. A lot of people like to give Future kudos for like the lean epidemic. No, it was Lil Wayne first. And for me, with the youth, like they see that and they absorb that, because we know the things that you consume, you become, whether that be your music, your food, the people around you, your environments. Like, bro, like you become that stuff. And so I just feel like, because of the messaging that a lot of rap artists push, it's negatively affecting our youth, just because they don't know that there's an alternative a lot of times. What are your thoughts on that?
So I agree with that, but I think it's also due to the role model imagery, right? A lot of youth we service, right? They may not have a predominant male in the household, right? So who do you
Facts.
see? The people on TV who you're looking at on a consistent basis, right? And like for myself personally, I can speak for, I don't watch TV. I might watch YouTube, I might watch the game or something of that nature. But oftentimes, even a lot of my youth, they may have a YouTube on rotation, right? You got a whole NBA YoungBoy playlist. That's
Yeah.
all you observing all day and taking in, right? And that's who you identify yourself with and want to embody. I know a parent, for example. I got this kid, man. I'm talking about smart, brilliant, can be whatever he want to be. But he's mad at us for different things. The NBA YoungBoy really talks to him. So
Yeah.
literally, now he finds himself all the gestures and everything that come with it, and trying to identify and match with that energy. That's not him. And his
Yeah.
mom even pulled me aside and told me, and I said, listen, I know what it is. I went through that same phase too, right? High
Yeah.
school rebellion, mad at the world, figuring out stuff, asking questions, right? And you just feel like they understand you, relate to you, right? What would you say about that? Would you agree with
Yeah, man, it's interesting because, like, we were just talking about bridging the gap, and it just made me think about, when we were growing up, or at least in my community, we saw the drug dealers, we saw the dope boys, like we saw the game, but like we saw them, and we saw the lifestyles that they were living. So a lot of, my friends and people in the neighborhood idolized that. So they grew up wanting to be that. And you just spoke to a great point where it's like, it's a completely different dynamic with these kids now. Like when I was growing up, we had internet, but it was the dial-up stuff. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the, what I'm saying? So we weren't on the internet. We were actually outside living life. And so I love how you said, like, a lot of times, like, they don't have the person that they can physically see, that they can model their life after. And so they have to find people that look like them, that come from a similar background, that have a similar story to them, and so they kind of just gravitate towards that, because this person looks like me, his story is similar to mine, he's misunderstood like me. Because honestly, like, I honestly don't think NBA YoungBoy is a bad person. I just think he's a misunderstood person. But the stuff that you rap about, the things that you're involved in, isn't productive at all. Well, not all of it, but like the messaging behind it, right? Like, I'm not trying to beef with ops. I'm not trying to, run down on ops. I'm not trying to do all that, right? And I think you know what I'm saying? Like I could listen to it and I
that?
can have a good time, but that's not what my focus is. And I think for the youth that you're talking about, like you said, that's not him. And he's consuming a lot of that stuff, and he's then acting out as a result. He just needs to switch up what he's listening to, man. I don't know what all genres he's into, but I think if he switches it up, his trajectory in life is going to change dramatically. Just like you, you were listening to the same stuff, but you realized the effect that it was having on you. And so you're like, all right, let me listen to these Isley Brothers, some R&B, something soft to bring my spirits, a little bit more even till. But yeah, just switch up what he's listening to.
But to chime in on that, like I still enjoy that. You know what I'm saying? I'm an NBA YoungBoy fan, but at the same time, I know there's a time and a place, right? If I'm on a long car ride and I'm bored, I'm gonna get lit. I'm gonna be in there.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? But even like pivoting to a Kendrick, to a J. Cole, to a Rex like Frost, to a Nas, to a you feel me? I'm very intentional with expanding my music, and I don't want to listen to something unless it stimulates me. But
yeah,
that's the point in time I'm in my life, and I understand all the youth may not be, but even
yeah,
exposing them to a new artist, right? I'm so big. Hey, let me see your playlist. Where listen to mine, right?
yeah,
We do an engagement where essentially we give everybody a CD and we tell them to make a playlist of their life, right? You can learn a lot about a kid when they give you the playlist of their life. And the crazy
yeah,
thing is, we did it with parents and everybody, and the generational difference was so evident. But we would ask them why. Wait, why do you like NBA YoungBoy? I ain't going outside today. You know what I'm saying? And because in the midst of COVID, I wasn't going outside today. When literally, like it makes sense, and I think
yeah,
you have to be able to put yourself inside their shoes and not think you're too big, right?
yeah,
Oftentimes, what happens with parents is your music sucks, your music is horrible, turn it off. Who? The type of kid I was, you tell me that you can do something, you can do it that much harder, right?
yeah,
and,
yeah,
and so what we see a lot of times with the youth is just that rebelling component, right? You don't understand me. Sit
yeah.
down, listen to me. Dissect the song. Ask why do you like this, right? How does this pertain to you? And when you get that critical thinking going, they'll start to analyze it a little bit different as well, man. Well, what's your thoughts
Facts.
on
Nah, bro, I feel it because I even think about the comment about the parents. Like, bro, I'm pretty sure, like, I'm fairly certain that at some point, the music that the parents listened to, their parents was like, turn that off. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, 90s hip hop was not the most popular thing in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Like, now you look back and you revere it because it was some dope artists. But like at that time, like, especially like the NWAs, the those other groups, the Wu-Tang, like they were well, Wu-Tang a little bit different, but with the MWA, they literally were saying F the police. Like, bro, your parent is not letting you listen to that type of stuff, in the crib. So it's very interesting. But I love the playlist of your life, bro. I love that because, like you said, like you can learn so much from somebody from their playlist. Like, bro, I want to ask you a question. Like, and of course, at this age, it's a little bit different. But do you or were you one of those kids that like when you were in your youth or you were in a teen, like did you only listen to like rap music when you were with your guys? Like you wouldn't let R&B play, like if you were in a car riding somewhere? Like would you just be like, like bro, like I ain't gonna lie, like this is the funny part, bro. Like I grew up listening to Chris Brown. Like I still listen to Chris Brown. I love me some R&B, bro. I love me some R&B, bro. Some soulful music. So like I used to the Chris Brown to come on up or take you down and come on, and my homie would be like, bro, what you like? What's going on, bro? Turn that off. And
that?
like, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I think that plays a major role too, especially at a young age. Like people don't want to be considered soft, but like I would like to hear your
yeah.
your, your opinion on that.
So I like how you said it. I think you said it perfectly. I think there's two different components to this. First, myself personally, I create playlists. So I got late night playlists and I got during the day in the street, you know what I'm saying, riding playlists. So anytime I'm with the guys, I'm playing the riding playlist, you know what I'm saying? Because again, I think it's a big thing. Well, first of all, I think black men masculinity is being attacked right now. But if we take it back to our youth when we were in high school, right? Nobody wanted to be soft, right? That's no homo. You can be saying that to show that that's not their intentions, right?
Yeah,
But my thing is, my playlist when I'm at the crib or when I'm boot up is drastically different, and I'm comfortable with it. But I think it's based on the specific setting. Yeah, if I'm not with my guys, like I'm not gonna have no Jagged Edge, no Chris Brown, you know what I'm saying? None of that, because it was just kind of awkward for me personally, right? But if I'm vibing with wifey or if I'm on a whole nother wave, then of course I'm gonna let it ride. And believe it or not, before football games, when I got my headphones in and when I'm dolo and isolated, I'd much rather play that. And even in school, I realized that I'd much rather play that. But a lot of time, my playlist reflected my mood for the day too. And again,
yeah,
that goes hand in hand with the hypnotic rhythm. If I ain't feeling it today, I ain't going outside and I'm back on my NBA, right?
Yeah,
If
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
vibing and everything is well, I made some top dollar sign. You know what I'm saying? It was very versatile. But I think another key component in today's society is everybody wants to be relevant, right?
yeah,
It's people who probably don't even really rock with NBA Youngboy that will play it to feel accepted. Because everybody and their mom is doing it, right? There's rappers and artists I'm finding out about because they're literally everywhere. Everybody playing them, right? Who is this guy I haven't heard of? Let me check it out, right? Things of that nature as well. But I think once you get confident within yourself, you really don't care. Because I
yeah,
got a lot of partners who look just like me and you, but they was bumping their country way before it was cool. You know what I'm saying? I was like, they confident with it. And I think
yeah,
that's the huge component. If you aren't confident, bro, you just want to fit in. So your playlist is gonna adjust to that. And then
yeah.
subconsciously, you're gonna start maneuvering in that same form too.
Yeah, and bro, that's spot on because, like, bro, I grew up in some of the most poverty-stricken, low-income communities where it was like you had to get it out the mud. And here go this somebody listening to Take You Down. I keep saying Take You Down because that was my stuff. Like, I'm not even finna say that lie. Like, bro, like I had Chris Brown first album, the CD joint, like when he was singing Say Goodbye, all this other stuff on that, bro. Like, and I would listen to bro. It's funny because like one of my cousins, like thug now, like got the dreads. And it's funny because cool, shout out to Waka Flocka because it really Wayne didn't really influence the dreads like they was Waka Flocka. When Waka Flocka came out, he was shaking this stuff. Everybody wanted dreads. Like I didn't want to get dreads at the time because I didn't want to be like everybody else. But I digress on that conversation. But my cousin, bro, the toughest dude in the world today, like today. Boy, this man used to hip roll the you know what I'm saying, the Chris Brown, like bro, he used to like, you know what I'm saying, not like bro, never had to worry about saying no homo or none of that because I just knew my cousin just was a vibrant spirit, like he was just a super dope dude, you know what I'm saying. But now, bro, you won't catch that man listening to no R&B, like, and again, it's part of this persona in which he has to put on in order to be in the communities or in the environments that he's in. So I know we spent a lot of time talking about like how the music impacted youth, but let's just take a slight pivot, right? And I wanted to talk about how a lot of the music out nowadays and how it's pretty much promoting division in the household. It's promoting having multiple women. It's talking about, you know, I referenced it earlier, like sliding on the ops, the drill music, right? Um, what kind of effect do you think that has on a community or a culture of people that's listening to that?
Man, anything you listen to in a repetitive state, again, that it subconsciously starts to impact you, right? And again, I'm not even going to talk about anybody individually. I could talk about myself, right? I noticed when I listened to that type of music, I was literally looking for opportunities to act out and lash out, literally, right? Uh, in school, I used to consider them like period days. I'm a firm believer that males have mental periods too. They may not actually bleed, but nah. And on a serious note,
No, I
we have
feel you. I
days
feel you.
where it's literally just not our day. Like that, like, and again, me and my cousin went to school together. She like, just don't about in the day. Like I really have my days like I just leave me alone, and that's really how I feel. And on those days, I would listen to that music, and I would literally wait for somebody to provoke me so I could lash out, right? And again, when it comes to black men in general, I can speak for. I think we have a lot of decompression to do, right? So that music we may align with it because again, these are a lot of actions we may want to lash out on, but it's because we hear it on a consistent basis. So for us, I think it's very important for us to, again, the mentoring we're doing, those safe space circles, those conversations where we can decompress or even therapy, right? Music can be a form of therapy, but if it's only attacking the negative elements you're doing, it's not progressive therapy for you by any
Yeah,
means. So I think it's just important to get to the root of your personal problem. And if there's a specific line of music that aligns with it, figure out why, right? Is this the same lifestyle? These are the same struggles I'm working with. And if they're the same struggles, why are you indulging those struggles? You feel me?
yeah,
Why are you not looking to combat that? Why is it not more of a positive nature? And again, that's why I'm huge just exposing kids to a different form of music. Or there's a lot of rap music that is conscious, that doesn't talk about still kill drill. And it might be on the feature of a still kill drill, but there's a different vibe, a different, again, just the rhythm to it. So my thoughts are sit down, reflect on the music, figure out why you like it, but then also figure out some other positive substitutes that may give you the same feel. You still may be hyped with it, but at the same time, it's pouring into you and developing you. Um, do you find yourself still listening to a lot of drill music? And if so, how does it impact you now?
bro. Like when I'm in the gym, it's fair game. You know what I'm saying? It's fair game for
Yeah.
any because but I lately just being honest, I pivoted away from listening to music to getting more back on my personal development piece. So like I'm in the gym now, I'm listening to Earl Nightingale, I'm listening to Bob Proctor, I'm listening to Napoleon Hill. And I truly believe that like I'm not even completely actively listening to what they're saying, but like just having that plan in my mind. Because I go to the gym early in the morning, bro. I'm going at 5 a.m. most days. And to have that plan in my head is setting me up for success that day. But if I go to the gym at 5 a.m. and the first thing that I'm hearing, the first thing, I ain't going outside today, or like we finna slide on them or spin on them, whatever the name of the song is, like it's not gonna be a good day for me because I'm consciously thinking about that type of action. So I had
Can I,
wrote down,
take that a step further, brother?
go ahead.
Yeah, because you just mentioned something. Even so, I know in your case, you don't have a kid, you don't have any kids. But think about those parents who are still waking up to that music, right? Think about those children, right? The generational component that's coming with it, right? Oftentimes, oftentimes, especially when parents are younger and they're still listening to that negative music, they find themselves in the club with their kid, right? I know my homeboy told me he used to party with his mom. I'm like, that's crazy. Like
Bro,
this is what we grew up to. You better
yeah.
talk to me.
Because what's crazy, bro, and this is so dope because we just had this conversation with one of the schools that we work with, that when a kid is born, they only have their subconscious portion of their mind. They don't even have the conscious portions of their mind, which means that they don't have any ability to reject or accept any information that's given to them. So when you're a kid, like everything this is why people say kids are sponges, right? Because what you listen to your parents do, what you see your parents do, you subconsciously accept that automatically, like because you have no reasoning mind. So if you listen, if bro, and it amazes me, like the parents listen to whatever music they listen to, and then 3 years later the kid knows the song verbatim, like you know what I'm saying, like it literally rapped this to you verbatim. And it's funny, like not even just on the music tip, we were talking in one of the sessions, and one of my buddies was like, bro, what if somebody told you today, like, I know you're a man, right? But like, what if somebody told you that you were a dog this entire time? And it was a young lady we were talking. She was like, a dog? Like, I would look at you like, who are you to tell me that I'm a dog? Like, I'm not a dog, I'm a girl. Like, what? That doesn't even make sense. He was like, right, because you have reasoning, you have, logic at this point. But I had, bro, and it's funny because we've had this type of conversation many times, and I never thought about this analogy until the girl said that. I'm like, how many of you guys are familiar with Tarzan? And then, of course, show of hands, everybody raising their hand. And I'm like, think of Tarzan. He was taken away from his parents when he was an infant. He was raised among gorillas. He grew up to believe he was a gorilla. Think about that, bro. Like he grew up to believe he was a gorilla. And then he started seeing humans. And once he had the logic to think, he like, oh, wait, I look more like these things, not these things. I might not be a gorilla. Right. So a lot of times, like when we're listening to this type of music, or we're listening to this music around our kids or around young people in general, especially at a very early age, like they're picking up on everything that we're doing, whether it's good or bad. And it's unfortunate that they grow up and they live the lives that they do, but it's totally a reflection of those things that you did around them that they
100%.
soaked up. Yeah.
100%. But to your point, and that Tarzan analysis is dope. I like that a lot. Definitely leverage that, and I'm gonna use that too. I'm gonna shout you out though. But one thing about it is, in even just as I reflect on myself, right? Again, listen to the NBA, all that stuff, having that mindset, but seeing that polar opposite, right? Tarzan saw a human, and once he first saw it, that's when something was able to sit in and reflect. But me, it was seeing a black man in a suit and tie and driving Maserati and stuff, and knowing they didn't dabble in those other arenas. I said, well, there's another way, right? Oftentimes, well, let's just be blunt, let's just be transparent, right? Looking to Pat let me realize that I can be in sales. I can flip something and I can make more profit out of it. Cool.
Yeah.
And I want to certain time I might be looking on my shoulder. But it took me to see both sides and to see, right? Flipping the bat can result in jail time, being away from family, all these other components. Selling something from a corporate standpoint, right? You're going to be on the top of the leaderboard. I'm not going to worry about the
Bro.
negative components. But again, for us as black people in general, you got to see, and that's why I'm such a firm believer in changing your setting, altering it. If you used to just go in the trap club, go to the Latino club, right? See
Yeah,
something, go learn the sauce. You know, okay, right? My
yeah,
boy is hey man. I said, boy, you a square. I went. I said, yo, y'all lit. You know what I'm saying? Like, but challenging yourself to get away from your current environment on a consistent basis is going to be what allows you to expand and build upon. What's your thoughts?
bro. That's fire, bro. That's fire. Bro, it's so crazy how so much stuff be in alignment, but bro, it's so many transferable skills from selling, selling drugs or doing things, certain things in the streets. If you can sell drugs and you are good at it, right? You can own a business. Like you can sell, bro. It's branding, right? Like you may know that if you go over here, you might, he got the stuff for the low, but it ain't the greatest quality, right? But then you go over there, other bruh, he got that fire, but it costs a little bit more. Like notice, like these are the rules of the street. Like this stuff. So it's just like think like shifting your mentality. Like you said, I love the fact that you said, like, bro, like you were doing it one way, but then you saw Maserati Trav, right? Was it Trav? I just want to make sure I was shouting bro out. But you saw bro and you like, man, it's another way to get it. So let me try to get it that way because I know what the result of this way is. I really don't know a little too much about that. So let me tap into that. I think that is dope. Again, just had a conversation earlier. We meet with the guys every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from 8 to 10 every morning on those days. And one of the conversation was the power of the mastermind, right? A lot of people, they hold on to people that they're familiar with from their past. But the truth and the reality is that they should be focused on making friends that are geared towards their future, places that they're going. Because a lot of times, yeah, your friends, those are your comfort zone, but they're doing the same things that you were doing the entire time. And it's not saying that you can't grow with your current group of friends, but you should always be looking to shift forward a little bit or pivot forward into, like you said, going to a Latino club. Like, bro, I'm not even gonna lie, like the first time I saw like Latinos party, bro, I was like, I knew we was related. It just sounded a little different. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
like turn, bro, turn. Like I always think about that Cat Williams sketch where he was talking about they was like, tonight we're gonna get, messed up or whatever. I think about that, but I'm like, bro, like they don't need much to be lit, bro. It's just like it's a whole different vibe. Like with us, man, we need the vibe to be right, we need the music to be right. You know what I'm saying? We need all this stuff to line up for us to have a good night. But them, boy, you just give them a couple Coronas, you get a couple of their buddies. You know what I'm saying? They turn.
Nah. To your point, bro. Literally on both sides across the street is bruh's Puerto Rican, and then to the right, bruh is Dominican. Literally, like my mom always told me, like in another life, you were some form of Latino, like you know what I'm saying, and it always made me laugh. But literally, like I've always had a partner who is some type of Latino, Cuban, any Mexican, anything of that nature, man. And we just vibe, and it's just the exchange of energy. But again, I like opening up myself and asking them questions too. Like they don't listen to the same music we listen to, but yet they're so clicked up. And honestly, again, we'll talk a little bit about the victim mentality, but like even when we talk about the clubs and things we go to, when I'm at those clubs, man, I'm more worried about somebody who looks like me attempting to cause some form of harm than somebody who doesn't. And that's the biggest problem that I see and I have, especially when we're all in the midst of listening to that same type of negative music. Even taking it back, like getting jumped at a club, right? It opened up my eyes and I needed it because it really humbled me, to be honest. But at the same time, it's so conflicting. Like, why can't we all be great? Why we gotta hate on each other? But again, like I think like miss the music, and it's what's being pushed.
So let's get a little vulnerable, man. So why do you think that is? Like, because I ain't gonna lie, like I share the same sentiment. Like I can go anywhere in the world. Like I could be, downtown Chicago, and I'm walking past all these shady looking white people, but I ain't too worried about them. But when I see a brother, and he look a little sketchy, right? Like I feel a little different when I see him. Like why do you think that is?
So I think it's two components. So again, I'm from Asheville, North Carolina, bro. Like I've never seen a bunch of black people like that until I went to Fayetteville State, and it was a complete opposite. So for me, from my experience, I realized if our counterparts are trying to attack us, they're not going to be as direct, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to blackball you. They're going to do something. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be a direct impact. They're not just going to walk up and steal in your mouth. right? They may talk trash, they may do something, but it's going to be something from a higher, more strategic route to try to cut you off, right? From us as black men to black men, I think again, first that everybody wants to be territorial, right? It's about egos. I think we have the biggest egos in the world, to be honest with you. I sincerely do. But oftentimes we only look at each other as prey, right? Versus trying to build together. And I think again, it stems back to slavery. It stems back to a lot. I believe that the small limited resources that we have collectively, we feel we have to compete for. Again, just as I know, even when it comes to nonprofit, trying to make impact in the community, there's certain groups that don't want to work with you or want to collaborate because you feel me, they want their brand bigger on the poster. It boils down to egos. I think it's the same exact mentality.
That like no, I wasn't trying to cut you. I was just pretty much, man, agreeing. Like people will literally not try to support or like just like you said, like they'll literally be upset that their logo is not the big one on the flyer and they won't support or they won't be a part of it because of that. And it's just like, bro, if the goal is impact, why does that matter? Because for me, I share the same sentiment. I grew up in the hood. Like I'm talking about everywhere you turn, I'm talking about people getting shot in front of the crib, like people, you know what I'm saying, broke into the crib, we getting the crib getting raided. And like I don't try to like publicize the struggle mentality, but like I come from that. So like for me, it's just like because man, bro, you had to protect your own. Like from I remember being from like going to different neighborhoods to like go to parties, bro. And like when they knew who we were, like, bro, it was like being hood famous a little bit, right? And like we'd go to a different hood, and it's like whenever I seen like somebody that wasn't from my neighborhood, I'm like, who was that? Like where he from? Like what he on? Like you see memes and stuff online where they be like, man, when you're in Chicago and somebody say, hey, shorty, check it out. Don't check it out, boy. Don't check it out. Like, because I remember being that youth with my guys, like we own one, but again, it was a reflection of music we listened to. It was a reflection of the environment that we was in, and we had to be, like you said, territorial, literally in this sense. But like I said, when you go out of that environment, and I went to Valparaiso University, which is a PWI in Northwest Indiana. It is literally completely different from Chicago. But my awareness was so limited. And I tell you, I kid you not, bro. I thought that every black person that I came in contact with was from Chicago. Like for some reason, I didn't think that black people could be from New Jersey. I didn't think that black people could be from LA. I didn't think that black people could be from Iowa, you know what I'm saying, from Wisconsin. For some reason, and especially if you moved a certain way, like if you had a certain swag, like I'm like, yeah, he got to be from Chicago, like he had to. And so, but when I seen you initially, I was a little more reserved, and I think this kind of ties into the next thing we're gonna talk about, which is kind of the victim mentality. Is like a lot of times when we meet somebody, we immediately start looking at the negative things about them, or we start pointing out the things that we dislike about somebody, and you never even had a conversation with them. And I think that's crazy, but I think that's not just black people. I think it's human nature, but black people, like you said, a little bit more because of the egos that we have.
100%, 100%. So diving actually into that victim mentality, right? I think it goes hand to hand because I think we're quick to really point a finger. I don't think we really take time to self-reflect as a culture collectively, right? Man, I was rapping with my guy, and we were kind of talking about this, and he hit me with something that, man, I'm talking about. I was up thinking about it 2, 3 in the morning, like, yo, that's so real, for real though, man. So his comment was, the the Guardians the Guardians let down their standards. I said, what do you mean, right? And when I originally looked at it and I really just broke it down, I was like, the elders, because the elders tend to always be quote unquote the Guardians, right? Letting down their standards is now, for instance, let's just be real. How many parents say the N-word around their kids? A lot.
Yeah,
A lot.
yeah.
Yeah, to the point where you a young dick. Oh, that's cool. That's not. You know what I'm saying? We saying that left and right now, but not realizing that we're accepting that we can call each other right. We didn't grow up king, queen. You know what I'm saying? And really adapting that mentality, right? And the songs we hear, it's not king, it's not queen, it's nigga and B word, right? So what he said is, or what I got out of it is, we need to pull our pants up collectively. And it took me back because I remember even in high school, right? A adult would tell me to pull up my pants, bro. I had basketball shorts on, not drop my drawers. Like disrespectful. Like, bro, who are you to tell me? And again, it was ego. I'm like, yo, if you not my parent, if you don't throw funds towards me eating it, like, bro, you were not in a position to tell me. I remember I got suspended at summer camp because some girl's dad thought she could tell me to pull up my pants, and literally, like, I dropped them to my ankle with shorts on and walked away from them. I got suspended and wasn't able to go on the field trip, but like to me, it was more about my ego and pride. Like you were not in a position to tell me about myself. But again, bringing it full circle, I think is so vital in the work in which yourself, myself, and our organization do. And we got to continue to spread that wave, right? Just as we talked about, a lot of the youth are looking toward these rappers and different people for that specific guidance because they don't have physical role models who are consistent in their life. So for us to be able to show them and theoretically pull your pants up, right? Let's raise our standards. Let's think in this realm. Let's be a little bit more accountable. Let's learn the code switching, right? Let's learn how to properly communicate. And oftentimes we say it's quote unquote acting white. Man, I'm starting to really get upset with that term because
yeah.
Who says that? Like, and even if you do your history, a lot of the stuff today is was from us. Like, you know what I'm saying? So no, that's not the case, right? Talking proper doesn't have to be associated with the other side, right? Why can't we re-identify ourselves with that? Think about if across the nation, right, across the U.S. alone, if black men and black women were able to raise their standard just a little bit, think about how much further that would take us collectively, right? That's just something that really was on my mind. What's your thoughts, bro?
Bro, that's so fire, bro. Cause it's like it's so many different components of that, and there's so many angles I could come in at. But like the pull up your pants mentality or the pull up your standards, bro. I I never was accused of talking white or things of that nature, but like, bro, what's wrong with being intellectual? What's wrong with being intelligent? Because that's really all that we're trying to do. Because I'm not agreeing with the norm around here. Like I'm actually striving to aspire to be something. Like there's nothing wrong with that. But bro, I love how you said that if us collectively around the nation, and it's funny because you're in North Carolina, I'm in Chicago, but the experience that you're talking about is very similar to my own, where it's like you'll be in high school and people will tell you, pull your pants up, don't do this, don't do that, don't stand over there, don't just be like, bro, you post up in the hallway on the locker. Like in my head, I'm posted up on the block. You know what I'm saying? Like this like being on the block. And they like, don't do that. Like go to class, do this, doing that. And you just like, man, who is this guy? Bro, you know, we had one of our guests on and they talked about like, you know, James, very intelligent, but his temperament. And it was just because of the environment that I was in and the people that I was around that kept me thinking that a lot of the stuff that I was doing is cool. And to go back to, you know, bring everything that we talked about full circle is change your environment and you will literally change your life. Change your mentality and you will literally change your life. Like I cannot make this stuff up. Once you make that slight pivot, everything in your life will drastically change. Not a little bit, but drastically change because once you start to focus on something better and you emotionalize that new thought, bro, that is how you get there. But I just want to pose a question because we were talking about the victim mentality, and a lot of times, you know, it comes down to two things: are you a victim or a victor? And what I mean by a victim or victor is like, were you taken advantage of in this situation, or were you hurt or wronged in this situation, or do you have something to be grateful for, something to look at the positive side of whatever happened to you? I'm gonna give man, I've been holding on to this information for about a week because I wanted it to hit. I wanted it to hit. So basically, after I came from the Bulls game, you know, me and wifey had a phenomenal time. I can't stress that enough. Came back to the crib, you know, woke up the next day and I went outside to my car and somebody had broken into my car, bro, trying to steal it. Um, I don't know if you're familiar with the Kia boys or whatever, where they're like, it's oh well, I thought man, this is like a global thing that's happening where um basically there's a TikTok tutorial how to like steal Kias, bro. Like, and it's and from what I understand, it's not too difficult, bro. Um, so basically, bro, it busted out my back window, messed up my entire ignition. And bro, this is a 2022 Kia, bro. That joint got 6,000 miles on it. Just bought that mug 4 5 months ago. And am I a victim or am I a victor? Right. So of course I send the pictures to the group, and this is why I love my mastermind, bro. I love my mastermind. I can't say that enough, because first thing they ask, are you and Bree okay? I'm like, yeah, we good. And I wasn't even thinking about that. Like I'm goes back to the NBA young boy mentality, or like, some more restorative mentality, right? Because at first I was ready to take somebody down, for lack of a better term, right? And my girl was just like, bro, like, you tripping. Like you tripping, because like, one, bro, they didn't steal anything out the car. Like their intent was to steal the car, but they couldn't, because I don't know, someone like scared them or what have you. But they didn't get away with the car. They just bust the window and jack my stuff up. And speaking on the victim mentality, is like, bro, I had to sit back and say, like, bro, at the end of the day, I'm blessed. Like, they didn't get the car. They didn't take anything out the car, bro. I got a rental car business. So I keep certain stuff in my trunk to make sure that I can, manage my other cars and do everything I need to. And they didn't take any of that stuff. Like, they didn't take any of the stuff, because their intent was just to like joyride in the car. And bro, it's crazy, because the police had came, and I sat, because I was trying to sit in the front seat, and I noticed that the seat was extremely close to the steering wheel. So I'm like, bro, this was a young buck that did this. Like, and bro, it was crazy, because the frustration that I had kind of dissipated, right? Because I'm like, bro, this is why I'm doing the work that I'm doing, because I realized that there is a youth out there that doesn't see value in what he does as an individual, that feels the need to want to take from another person. And I'm like, bro, it just really pumped me up, because I'm like, bro, like, I remember being that kid that was really, really willing to risk it all in order to have a good time, or to fit in, or to be a part of the crowd. And it was like, it humbled me a little bit, bro. It really humbled me a little bit. But to get to the victim mentality, I ain't gonna lie, for like the first 30 minutes, I was a victim. I was in this joint, like, man, I don't know what, man. I was so upset. But then, like, bro, like, having certain people in my ear that was just like, bro, you blessed, the car's insured. Like, it's just a car. Like, you got your health, you got wealth, you got all these other phenomenal things going on, that it's not, bro, you shouldn't even be worried about that. And then the blessing in it all is like, I have multiple cars. So it's not like, you know what I'm saying? There was no real stagnation in this process. Like, I literally was able to just hop in one of my rental cars and get where I needed to go, right? Um, but just kind of going through that whole process, it brought me to this thought. You know, a lot of us think that we're solid. Like, and I'm talking about solid as far as our character and our personality. And like, we think that we can deal with anything that comes at us until it does. Like, you think you so solid until something real happens and it humbles you. Like, it's almost like, you know, I think about Inky Johnson, and he talked about like practicing every day playing football. And then at one time he made a tackle incorrectly and the wind got knocked out of. Like, bro, your whole life can change in one instant because of moments like that. And I was telling, some of the guys, like, bro, I wonder what I would have done if I seen them. Like, if I seen the kids out there doing it. You know what I'm saying? But
That's
yeah, I just
dope.
want, yeah.
Dope. Now I'm sitting here listening. You talk, man. It definitely resonated with me. I gave a speech a while back, man, and it was a wordplay. Are you a
Mm.
warrior or a warrior? Right? Are you consistently worrying about things, or are you a warrior?
Oh, that's fire. Bro, to be honest, I thought you said, are you a warrior or a warrior? Like, just to say, I was like,
No.
he's spitting. But no, I got you, bro. I
Are
got you.
you a Spartan? Are you Spartan 300 warrior? You going to war for yours? Or you gonna sit there and war and be stuck in your misery, right? And then man, so right, things just be rolling, man. One of my young bucks, his pastor preached something, and he talked about it on social media, and he said that your trauma is your testimony, right?
Yeah,
So that specific experience where you were in the midst of warring is going to help build you up in the form of the warrior to be prepared going forward. You
yeah,
also talked about the football component. Man, I remember I had got brought up to varsity. I'm a young buck. I'm out there. I'm thinking I'm that guy. And I remember, man, the best player on varsity, bro, hit me with a double move, bro. Like it was like a man, it was like a curling goal. Who runs curls and goes, right?
yeah,
They
yeah,
they're freestyling, but I'm talking about I went to tackle him, and literally, bro, like, I thought I was finna close my eyes, everything. I'm talking about, I looked up and this place everywhere, and breath still running. And I remember it hurt my pride so bad. Again, back to the pride of NBA YoungBoy. For a second, I was like, yo, like, maybe I don't need to be here at corner. But I had to catch myself right in the midst of that. And something that they always tell you in sports is have a short-term memory, right?
Yep.
Take
Next play
take
mentality.
note, but don't dwell by any means. And that's my thought process when it comes to that victim mentality, right? Take your L, learn from it. But at the same time, how are you applying that? How are you building from that? Right? Bro, I just found out it's termites around the crawl space. I had to spend 9 bands on termites, bro. I'm talking, bro, I was in my feelings, bro. I want to beat up a termite.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, this is my first property. Who's to say my third or fourth property down the line might not have it too, right? And I don't know who to call and how to go about getting it treated. So I had to, you feel me, man up, get out of my
Yo,
emotions, just think from a logical standpoint.
that's so fire, bro. Cause I love my quotes. And Napoleon Hill, he says that in every adversity is the seed of equal or greater benefit, bro. And at the time, it might look like, damn, I gotta spend 9 bands on termites, or man, my car just got broken into. But in that adversity, there is something that can literally change your life. For the greater, that's equal or even greater than the experience in itself, bro. Cause I'm just like, I talk about like, bro, this is you practicing positivity. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is not something that just happens overnight. But that's super fire, bro. That's super fire. And kudos to you, because like 9 bands, that's not, you know what I'm saying? That's not chump change.
Yeah. But again, hey, that's what the rainy day is fun is for, right? And if you're prepared, you don't gotta get prepared. And that's what it really showed me too, man. Like you asked for this, right? Oftentimes things we ask for and we pray for, when we get, we be like, I
Yeah.
wanted to bust my butt for it, but now I'm learning what comes with being a homeowner. But that's part of my evolution and my process. So look, I'm gonna take it on the chin and I'm gonna come back fighting even harder, man. But again, that's what this is all about. So again, my takeaway from that was, yo, the warrior versus warrior, right? Which one are you gonna be? Figure out your lane and attack it. And don't get so stuck in this victim mentality. But even on a broader perspective, right? Us as a black people in the culture, we have to take accountability for our actions, right? If your young buck, if your niece, if your nephew, if your homeboy is doing something wrong, yo, pull him aside and talk to him. Be conscious of that ego, though. You can't call him out in front of everybody. And that's one thing I learned from the young bucks. I can't tell you doing wrong in front of all your boys, but when it's over, come here, let me holler at you. Why you go about that route? And you can really have that one-on-one engagement and conversation. But it's gonna take us as the new OGs, right? The new gatekeepers, things of that nature, to help raise our parents up collectively. And at the end of the day, man, you should not be still sagging in 2022, right?
Yeah.
By any means. So we gotta evolve and elevate, man. What's your takeaways though?
Man, you said it perfectly, bro. Like, man, we gotta um pull our pants up as a collective, bro. Whether it be the youth, us as the middle of the pack, and then the OGs. Like, man, we trying to bridge the gap. And that's literally how we grow together, bro. I gotta do the shameless plug of let's grow together.
Yeah.
But man, at the end of the day, bro, it's just understanding the stuff that you consume, whether, like I said, the food, the music, the people, and making sure that it's where you're trying to go and not where you are right now. Because if it's where you are right now, you get a $9,000 termite bill. You know what I'm saying? You might act a little different if it's based off where you at right now. But with the life, with the perspective, with the knowledge that you gain from your mastermind and people that's going places, you like, man, you know what I'm saying? It's a small bump on the road of this journey of life. You know what I'm saying? And now we got another resource. So, man, you said it eloquently, man. I'm gonna go ahead and let you close us out.
Say no more. Well, family, as you've heard, man, we're all about the learning, all about the progression, all about evolution, right? And that's what we're here for. We're gonna be the shameless plugs. We're gonna be the people who are very blunt and transparent, and we're gonna lay it all out. Because at the end of the day, it takes us to collectively pull our pants up together, right? So, squad, as always, man, thank y'all for tapping in, family. Again, we are Let's Grow Together. James, how can they find you? Man, tell them about AGGF. How can they tap in with you?
Oh man, personally, man, like I said at the beginning, man, personal page on Instagram, J Turner 0121. The foundation page is A Greater Good Foundation. No spaces, no underscores, none of that. Just A Greater Good Foundation.
Oh yeah, and tap in mastermind underscore Marcus. And you can also follow Roots Mentoring at Roots, but that's R period O period O period T period S mentoring on Instagram. But for real, tap in. That's what we all about. Let's continue to build and grow together. Thank y'all, family.